Black women are known for their strength and resilience, but what does it mean to have courage as a Black woman in the professional world? I can't wait to break that down in today's episode of Courage Over Fear. I'm Amanda Flood, a psychotherapist and mindset coach, helping ambitious professionals reconnect to their purpose, increase their confidence, and use their degree in creative ways to amplify their impact. Let's talk about courage, because doing all of that takes some courage. But what is courage? Courage to me as a Black woman means being bold and confident in our abilities. It means pushing past our fears and taking risks in order to achieve our goals. And it also means recognizing when we're drowning in fear or our long list of ambitions. And also, like, this willingness to being able to dial it back. It really takes courage to say, like, I'm overwhelmed, I'm done, it's enough. I don't want to be that superwoman or that superhero, right? That takes a lot. I know for me, it's not so much about like the superhero part, but it's that like overwhelm part. Like, I know that feeling. I feel that a lot doing all the things that I do, right? I'm a mom, I run, I happen to really like half marathons for some crazy reason, right? I'm a wife. I run two businesses. One is a private practice in New York, and the other is a coaching and consultancy firm. So I'm busy, to say the least. And I also love showing up in spaces like this to have conversations. I'm a mindset coach, I have a mastermind group. So, yeah, overwhelm gets up to like here sometimes, and it comes rushing in, so much so that I can feel the cost. Right? Our calling has a cost, and I'm not exempt. As a speaker, as a coach, as a psychotherapist, I feel it too. And if you're willing to understand that there is a cost to what you're called to do, but despite that, despite the challenges in front of you or the demand, you still are willing, it changes things for us, right? If you are willing to tap into the power, to your power, to what's inherently inside of you, to what is your birthright. I heard someone say that recently in a conversation that we were having in the Confidence in Color series. It is your birthright. If you can tap into that and learn how to navigate this space of ambition and self-love, of drive and rest, of action and fear, whoo, we would be unstoppable. But courage has to be in the mix. Courage is something that is required to move between those spaces until you have the confidence to maintain the homeostasis. And for the professionals that I work with and the clients that have sat on my couch, that confidence gets rocked a lot, right? It gets rocked at some point for everybody. I don't want you to feel like you're the only one that struggles with showing up, or you're the only one that struggles with feeling stressed and overwhelmed, or that you can't balance, that you're doing too much. It is not just you. You are not alone. At some point, we all struggle with fear and doubt and overwhelm. We all question our capacity to take on the task at hand. But what I love about this idea of courage is it doesn't require you to know everything. It just requires you to be willing to see what's possible and to take some small steps towards that. Every little step adds up to just something bigger. And I'm just curious about what bigger will look like for me. But I also know that possibility is scary for a lot of us because it introduces a lot of anxiety. And anxiety happens when things are not clear, when things are not well defined, when we don't know what's next, what we don't know what it's going to look like, when we don't know every single step to get there. Some of us need all of that. And when that's not there, it's like, oh my God, I don't think I can. I don't know how I'm going to do this. All the worries, all the procrastination, all the perfectionism, that's anxiety. So how do we develop courage in that space? How do we develop courage as Black professionals? I started to kind of touch on it already, and I'm going to break it down for you guys because moving from that space of fear to courage is so important to me, and being able to share that with you and for us to really experience that together and experience that in all the women that's going to come through this space with me is it's like everything for me. And I know it's going to mean a lot for you. It's why I keep showing up and doing this work and in this capacity. So, courage. It starts with the small actions that push us outside of our comfort zones. It means speaking up when we have something to say, even if it's scary. It means taking on new challenges and opportunities, even if we don't feel like we're fully prepared. It means believing in ourselves and our abilities, even when others doubt us. It means patience with your process because, child, none of the above is easy, right? Developing courage takes time and practice. But with each small action that we take, we build motivation and action. And action builds more motivation. Okay. And then that puts us in this place of like trial and error and experiences. And within that kind of formula, with that math, honey, like that's how we get to confidence in our lives and confidence in our abilities. I often share this story of when I left my state job, and everyone was like shocked when they found out what I was doing because it was like, girl, where you going? Like, no one leaves. And I'm in this era of like, you just don't leave a good job. You stay for the pension and you just like stay. We've got like this loyalty to places. And I know there's so many complexities behind that. And I'm not knocking you if that's where you are. I just want you to check if you're really happy there and check what's really keeping you there. But for me, the conversation that stood out the most while I was divorcing work was one of the women in upper management, upper leadership, who I admired, right? She sat down with me and turned around and shared with me how she admired me and the courage that I had to leave. And what was coming out of her mouth and the change in her posture. So how she delivered it wasn't in that powerful way that I knew her to be. It wasn't that strong, like take no shit kind of lady, but it was soft. And there was actually a little bit of sadness there. And it made me realize something. It made me realize that people stay because they're afraid. In that moment, I recognized that women have to figure out how to be courageous enough to step into their power and lead the change that they want to see. If you're like my colleague, I didn't even see her as my colleague. I really saw her as someone above that, right? But I think in that moment, we might have been on the same level. I may have even surpassed her in that moment. But if you're in that space of scared, of what ifs, of staying in situations that really aren't serving you, what we're going to talk about next will help you evaluate your life and activate your courage. See, courage is a skill that can be learned if you are willing to ask yourself some tough questions and do a little bit of work behind that. But first, make sure to like and subscribe to my channel. Right? If you are listening to my channel and this is good, hit the like button now because it's about to get better. This is actually a gem from one of my keynote speaking pieces and workshops that I do across the US for women, women in business, leaders, entrepreneurs. What if you had 1% more courage? And if that's something that's already like turn on the light bulbs for you, I would absolutely love to do this for you in person. It's just a immersive experience in person. It's more than a conversation. It's an engagement of an activity, which we can't really do in this space. But if you know that you have a space for conversation on courage at your next conference or event, like invite me. I'm down. Let me know. But for now, I'm going to give you some things that I want you to ask yourself and meditate on for the rest of this week. I'll give you three powerful things, three powerful questions. And the first one is, what is the impact you want to have? And is where you are now taking you from your purpose or moving you closer to your potential? Sit with that. Write about it. Let it marinate. The second one I want you to think about is what scares you. So I want you to write down one thing that scares you about your job, right? Because we're talking about this in the context of work and how we end up in work situationships that maybe we don't belong in, right? And we spend so much time in work that it's worth evaluating how it connects to our fear and courage, our inaction, and our inability to move towards what's important to us. So write down one thing that scares you about your job, and then come up with a ridiculous worst case scenario. Like, let's entertain it. What's the worst that can happen? For example, if you're scared of public speaking, imagine yourself accidentally setting the stage on fire while giving a presentation. And that might sound crazy, silly, but sometimes humor can help us see our fears in a different light. It can help us see that thing that we're afraid of may not be so bad after all, right? It's just our mind is setting us up. Okay, so you got 2 things to do. And now I'm going to add the third. I want you to make a list of 3 things you've always wanted to do professionally. And maybe even outside of that, like something that feels closer to your purpose. Because sometimes it's within our profession and these careers that we've built, or sometimes it's outside of that, because we build all these years of our profession and we go down a path sometimes that's not really ours. It's not what we want to do. It's not what really brings us joy. It's just so happened where we landed. Maybe it was out of convenience. Maybe it was out of like familial obligations or cultural reasons, but maybe it's not what really brings us joy. So think about your list and make 3 things that you've always wanted to do, whether it's related to your profession or not. And then I want you to think about, for each one, what is your next 3 courageous steps in that direction? And what would that look like? So you got to do a little bit of work under each. So this is what I would love to do, or this is what I would want to do if fear was not an issue for me, if responsibility and judgment was not an issue for me, if family and responsibility and pressure was not an issue for me. I would do A and B and C. And then I want you to think about, because we're talking about courage and taking those little steps, what would each step be? So drop 1, 2, 3 under each, right? So wow, like I would have to study XYZ. I would have to maybe just write out my ideas. I would have to think about different ways to deliver those ideas. Cool. Maybe I would have to get in touch with a speaking coach. We talked about that. Let's say giving presentation is your thing. It's your thing and your kryptonite, right? I would have to think about what I want my keynote speaking topics to be. And maybe I'd have to find places to do that. Cool. So now once you have all that listed, I want you to pick 1 step, or maybe even 2. And it could just be 1 category. If you want to be bold and fierce, honey, and like get the ball rolling for 2023, maybe you look at more than 1, because we identified 3. And under each 1 or 2, pick the 1 or 2 things that you're going to commit to do within the next month. And it could be something as simple as finding that speaking coach. Right? Get in touch with me. I can hook you up with somebody. Or getting a coach to help you get the ideas out of your head, like me. Or maybe volunteering for a project or reaching out to a mentor. The important thing is just to take action, even if it's small, okay? Because you are the author of courage. You are the author of this chapter of your life. And I want you to start writing it in a way that makes sense for you, a way that's empowering for you, and a way that just feels good. All right, so I cannot wait to hear how that goes. Leave it in the comments or pop over on Instagram at amanda.flood and let me know that you watched this episode on Defining Courage and what you worked on. I would love to hear about it, read about it, and know that I believe in you like deeply. And until our next episode, go out there, sis, and work on that belief in yourself and exercise your courage, which will move you closer to that. See you soon.